welcome everyone. A very good afternoon to all the attendees. Welcome to our webinar on alternate career paths after civil engineering, which is hosted by the Department of Civil Engineering, Amrita School of Engineering, Coimbatore. We'll be having 4 speakers in today's session. So one will be myself, Dr. Ramkrishnan R, then Mr. Evan Karthik, who is an alumni of Amrita Civil Department from 2019, and Mr. Madankumar, who is also an alumnus of the 2012 batch. Then we have our professor, Dr. KB Anand, who will be delivering a session on civil engineering. All right. So I would like to invite Dr. KB Anand sir now. So Dr. KB Anand joined the Amrita School of Engineering in 2010 after a long and distinguished career at the NSS College of Engineering, Palakkad. He was actively involved in projects funded by MHRD and Department of Science and Technology, Government of Kerala, and is also associated with many professional bodies. For the overall contribution to teaching profession, Dr. Anand received the Best Teacher Award from University of Calicut in the academic year 2004-05. Dr. Anand has specialized in building technology and construction management from IIT Madras. His areas of interest include cementitious composites, high performance and lightweight concrete, sustainable construction, and energy efficiency in buildings. Dr. Anand has published many peer-reviewed international and national technical papers with reputed publishers, and has also given a number of invited lectures on topics related to building, environment, and climatic design. Further, in a career of 35 years, he has served in many administrative positions besides academics. So I would like to welcome Dr. KB Anand. Sir, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Ramkrishnan. Once again, welcome our panelists, Evan Karthik, Madankumar, along with all the attendees. I find that around 65-70 participants have joined. This session, this webinar on alternate career paths is targeted towards the aspiring engineers, those who have just recently completed their +2. Some of them are even writing the entrance examinations. So it's a difficult time for the students to make up their mind of what or in which direction they have to do, what higher studies they have to do, and what branch of engineering they have to take. So this is a very difficult situation for both the students as well as their parents. So in this session, we are going to highlight the key aspects of civil engineering, what all options are available in front of a civil engineer. The civil engineers can work in the core field of civil engineering or in allied areas. Okay. So this is what we are contemplating in this webinar. So with this brief introduction, I'll go to the presentation. I will share my screen. I hope the screen is visible to all.
Yes, sir.
So this university, Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, is spread across multiple campuses. We have the headquarters at Coimbatore. Then we have the campuses at Cochin, Amritapuri in Kerala, Bengaluru, Mysore, Chennai. So we are spread across different locations, and we have a number of courses in which engineering is one of the streams. And this slide shows the ranking of the university in the national scenario. We are ranked 4th best university by the National Institute of Ranking Framework of Ministry of Human Resources, Government of India. And you can see also on the right side where we stand internationally also. So amongst the top ranked Indian universities, we are also one. Okay. So that shows the potential of Amrita. And this is the a long shot of the campus, Coimbatore campus. It's a green campus, and the civil engineering branch is offered only at Coimbatore campus. So in Coimbatore campus, we offer the Btech program in civil engineering, Mtech program in structural and construction engineering, and also the PhD programs in different disciplines of civil engineering. So the details of the website is given at the bottom. Anyway, you can just Google Amrita Civil Engineering. You will get all the details with regard to our department. And this shows a snapshot of the faculty of our department. We have faculty specialized in various specializations. Okay. Now, this is just an overview of what civil engineer or what the civil engineering is all about. Okay. So the civil engineering profession involves, basically, it is the analysis, planning, design, construction, and of course the maintenance of many types of facilities. Okay. We have a lot of facilities that are to be created, and the facilities may be needed by the government, or it may be required for many commercial purposes or industrial purposes, or it could be for individuals or group of individuals, or in general for the public. So we have various infrastructure facilities which are needed for the public, along with the individual needs for maybe for commercial purpose, industrial purpose, or the government organizations. Okay. So the facilities which are created may be the form of high-rise towers or factories, academic institutions, okay, which includes the colleges, schools, medical colleges. All these things come under that. Housing, hospitals, airports, harbors, the tunnels and the subway underground systems. Then we have the dams and the irrigation systems. Then the facilities which are required for purification of water or the wastewater. Thereby we protect the environment. So it cuts across a number of streams or number of applications. Now, when you talk about civil engineering, you can be a general civil engineer, or you can do specializations. So we have various substreams of specializations under civil engineering. So you can be a generic civil engineer, or you can do specializations either during your undergraduate program or Btech program, or even at the master's level, okay, Mtech program or MS program, in various disciplines, which are some of which I have listed down. Okay, the important ones are the structural engineering. It could be the environmental engineering or water resources engineering, geotechnical engineering, transportation engineering, and construction technology management. So you can choose the career in any of these streams. Okay. Being a generic civil engineer, you can specialize in any of these fields also. Okay. So we'll just touch upon what are the highlights of each of these fields and how and where you may be able to work. So first we'll go to the structural engineering. What does it deal? What does the structural engineering deal with? So it deals with the design of buildings, or it could be other structures which are not buildings. So it could be the design of the bridges or buildings, or it could be the design of other structures, which may be bridges, dams, or retaining walls, any other structure which are required. So it is dealing with analysis and design of structures. Structures could be buildings, or it could be non-buildings also. And the structural engineers also many times closely work with architects. Okay, architects give the shape, and all these architectural components are designed so that the structure is stable and sound. Okay, it gives the strength and stability to the structure. So this is what the structural engineers do. And how do they do that? So the task in front of the structural engineer is to assess the various forces which are acting on the structure and then do the design accordingly. Okay. So the assessment of the force comes, then you have to choose the appropriate materials, finalize the materials which are suitable for the structure or the application. Then you have to look also into the budget, the financial part of that, and then design the models. Many times it may be complex structures, so you may use even softwares to design the models. So the basic job is to analyze and design the facility, so that at a later stage it can be implemented. So this is what the structural engineers do. Now in this slide, 8th slide, you find some of the typical structures. It could be the road highways, elevated highways, railway bridges, or offshore structures built in sea. Okay, so like that, many structures will come with different materials. So As a structural engineer, you may be able to work as consulting engineers, or you may be able to work in local authorities, local self-government agencies, or it may be part of oil companies, offshore rigging companies, railways, or it could be the contracting companies and public companies. Then you can even enter into civil services, engineering services, economic services, or even administrative services, or any of the civil services also you can go, or even in armed forces, military, or the paramilitary organizations also. The various options are available for structural engineers. Then the next is the other option of specializing in water resources engineering, because you know that water is a precious commodity. You have to conserve the water, and here it typically shows the structures which are created as part of water resources planning and distribution. So dams are created, and for the dams, you may distribute into the irrigation systems, or from the rivers, etc. You have the offtake wells from water is drawn, okay, and it is distributed for agriculture purposes, etc. For all these things, you require structures to be created. Hydraulic, you call that as the hydraulic structures. So the analysis, design, planning, all these things come under the water resources stream. Then we have the environmental engineering. This is also one of the critical areas, because the environment, the globe has to be protected. Mother Earth has to be protected. So there are various means, various agencies are there to do the job. As far as an environmental engineer is concerned, we may be able to, or you may be able to, do something like remediation process. Now here you see a water body where an oil spillage has happened. So how to remedy that? So the various remediation processes will be generally undertaken by the environmental engineers. It could be even contamination of the soil, so we rectify that. So whenever some projects are planned, like major infrastructure projects are planned, you have to make an assessment of that, what impact it will create on the environment. So this environmental impact, even the governments, many times whenever the new projects are visualized, the government first makes an environmental impact study. So the environmental engineers are generally making the impact assessment. They are also involved in studies on climate change, sustainability aspects of all these things. Now, where can the environmental engineer work, or somebody who has specialized in environmental engineering may be able to work in state and central government departments? There are many organizations under the government looking into the environmental aspects, or it could be in any of the environmental consultancy companies, like the Tata Consulting Engineers, Atkins, L&T Rambo. There are many companies who are specialized in environmental engineering. Similarly, if it is a water infrastructure, like the other cases earlier I discussed, water infrastructure companies, again, we have various companies who are recruiting where the water resources specialists are required to do the jobs of the design of facilities. Then comes the next, which is also an important one, the geotechnical engineering. So here we are dealing with the soil and the rock, because something which is on the surface and just below the surface of the earth. So the study and investigation of the subsurface materials and what is the condition of that, because all these facilities and structures are put up on the ground, and the ground has to withstand that. So all the grounds may not be suitable for construction. So you have to study the characteristics of the ground and take appropriate measures. So here you find some of the facilities which are created, and you find a harbor, a tall structure, and something is being done to improve the soil using a roller, etc. You are improving the soil. So basically, the geotechnical engineering deals with the study of the subsurface materials of soil and the rocks. So many challenges will come when the facilities are created, like construction of roads. You have a number of embankments coming up. So the stability of the slopes is a critical aspect. So some facilities like retaining walls are created so that the soil doesn't fall. So you find number of highways, super highways, express highways now being constructed. So in all these cases, the embankment stability is a critical issue. And sometimes it may be also necessary to improve the ground, because as of now, the ground is not very conducive for construction. So you improve that by various means. So this is also taken up by the geotechnical engineering. Then geotechnical engineers also deal with the foundations. When you put up structures on offshore, etc., the oil rigging platform, etc., there also the environment, the geotechnical engineering is involved. Similarly, the pavement engineering, ground modification, etc., the geotechnical engineering comes into picture. Now, the career options in front of a geotechnical engineer, somebody who has specialized in geotechnical engineering. Again, you have the Central Road Research Institute, AFCONS, Larsen and Toubro. Many organizations are there which specializes in geotechnical engineering, the ground, the study of the ground, the design of the facilities or the foundations for the structures, because everything has to ultimately rest on this soil. So this is one of the critical areas or specializations under civil engineering. Then another area is the transportation engineering. We are not talking about the mechanical components or the trains or the automobiles, but you need facilities for the trains to run or the automobiles to run or the aircrafts to land and take off. So we have number of facilities to be created. It could be the highways, express highways, elevated highways, flyovers, or railways, the conventional railways or the metro railways, airports. So if you talk about airport, it has number of facilities. It may be the runways, it may be the airport building as such. So number of facilities are to be created, even for harbors, tunnels, transportation, intersections, traffic intersections. These have to be planned meticulously. So for a efficient transportation system in a country, the transportation engineers play a major role in, again, analyzing what is the expected traffic, what is the current traffic, what may be the expected traffic after 30 years. So we plan for that and design the facilities. The job opportunities, again, for the transportation engineers, we have the Tata Projects, ECOM, Atkins, Consulting Engineering Group, National Highway Authority of India. Like that, many organizations recruit people who have specialized in transportation engineering. Then comes construction management, where so far we have been talking about analysis, design, planning, etc. So all these things are concepts. Now the concepts are to be made into reality. Okay, so it has to be built. So who will build it? Whether it's architect, engineer, or the builder. Okay, everybody plays their own role, but there should be somebody who should coordinate all these jobs. So there are many professions involved in actual execution of the work. So somebody has to coordinate all the jobs. So we have the managers, it may be construction managers, but above all these, at the top of the pyramid, we have the project managers who will be the leader. Okay, you have number of leaders and there will be a uppermost point or the leader who will be the project manager. So it is just like running a race to the finishing point. We have number of things to be done. So the project manager looks into all these aspects, coordinates everything so that the facility is created. The facility at the finishing point, maybe it could be a building, it could be a dam, it could be an airport, it could be anything. So you have to run the race so that it reaches to the last point efficiently, most efficiently. So for that, you think about, or the project manager thinks about number of things like how long the project will take, how much time is required, in what sequence the jobs are to be organized, then what are all the resources required, how much material, manpower, cash, all these things are to be procured. Okay, and you have to check the quality of the work also. So everything is monitored, and ultimately we reach the stage of completion. Okay, you can say that it is a teamwork. So I or we built the facility. So that satisfaction is derived once it is completed. Okay. Now these are showing some of the typical big constructions once it is completed. So the first one shows the construction of a dam where number of construction equipments, again resources, are to be well coordinated. This is generally done by the construction manager and the project manager. Similarly, the second figure shows one of the longest bridges in India. Not the longest, you can say, but it is a major structure in Mumbai, covering over a length of about 5.6 kilometers, in which about 4 kilometers, 3.8 kilometers is over the sea. So a number of challenges were there in the execution of this project, and an Indian company has done this construction. Now the construction managers have a number of areas to work. Okay, specialized civil engineers specialized in construction management can be working as project development, construction planning, contract management, project financing, or it could be supply chain management, plant equipment, construction machinery, or it could be safety management, quality management, or it could be even in the cutting edge technologies like 4D planning. So from the office itself, you monitor what is happening at the site. So it could be 4D planning, or it could be the augmented reality, where as the construction is progressing, you can visualize other things. If it is done in this format, how it will look like. So in a virtual way, we are creating the objects as the construction is progressing. So these are all some of the areas which are recently progressing. Much of research is being done in these areas. So to sum it up, the civil engineering is that job or is that profession which is always in demand. So the demand never fades away. It is always in demand. And under civil engineering, we have, as just now we discussed, we have the various specialization options possible. Then it is a sector which is growing very fast. The government of India also is investing a lot of money in developing infrastructure facilities. So it is an area or sector which is fast growing. Then when you do the civil engineering, ultimately something is realized. You see the product in front of you, then you get the or derive the satisfaction from that. Now, the core civil engineering, just like what we are seeing, the various specializations are the options in front of you. But after a basic degree in civil engineering, there are other options also possible in related disciplines like economics, finance, management. Many opportunities are there. So from there, you can slowly diversify into other areas also. So the different specializations are different alternatives possible. But apart from that, we have other areas also, which probably the other speakers will try to highlight you. So with this, I wind up this brief session. Over to Dr. Ramkrishnan.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the wonderful session. All right. So I would also like to welcome the head of our department, the chairperson, Dr. K.M. Mini, to the meeting. So she has recently joined now. Yeah. All right. So next, let us move on to the panel discussion. So I would like to invite our alumni, Mr. Evan Karthik and Mr. Madankumar, who are from the 2019 and 2012 years of graduation from Amrita. So Evan is here, and Madan, can you please come on video?
Yeah.
Right. So both of these are our alumni, even myself, Dr. Ramkrishnan. I'm also going to be a panel member for today's discussion. I'm also an alumni of our university. So me and Mr. Madankumar are from the same batch. We have been classmates. So we studied together from 2008 to 2012. We have been in the first batch of civil engineering at Amrita. So let me introduce the panelists for the day. So we have the first panel member, which is Mr. Evan Karthik, who is a regional assistant, the Estée Lauder Companies, EMEA, France. So Evan Karthik graduated from Amrita School of Engineering in the year 2019. After a bachelor's in civil engineering, he was keen and passionate about pursuing a career in the business and management domain. So hence, he appeared for CAT 2019 and GRE with the goal to join one of the top tier business schools in the world. After getting interview calls from 10 IIMs and a couple of admits from foreign universities, he decided to join EDHEC Business School, France in 2020 for a master's in management and master in marketing double degree. Currently, he is working as an intern for the Estée Lauder Companies as a regional assistant EMEA in their fragrance division. So welcome, Evan Karthik. It's a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Ramkrishnan sir. It's a pleasure being here as well, and thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. And it's again a pleasure meeting KB Anand sir, and it was a wonderful presentation in the beginning, and and at the end, thank you so much, guys, for joining this wonderful webinar, and hope you get the maximum out of it.
Thank you, Evan. Welcome once again. So next, I would like to introduce Mr. Madankumar, who is the scientist engineer at ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, Sriharikota. So Mr. Madankumar graduated from the first batch of Btech in civil engineering from Amrita in 2012. He started his career with Shobha Developers Private Limited, where he worked for 1 year, during which he executed construction of G+20 floor residential buildings at Bangalore. Subsequently, he worked as a design engineering in Jalmat, a Qatar-based developer, for a couple of years, where he got exposure in design, drafting, inspection, and execution of all types of advanced formwork systems in Qatar. Further, his experience includes construction of bank premises as per RBI guidelines and BAG norms and standards during his short tenure in Syndicate Bank. Finally, he settled as a scientist engineer in ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, and since the last 4.5 years, he has been involved in major construction works at Sriharikota. Besides, he is also in the charge of their technical division, where his main area of focus are e-tendering, estimate scrutinization, and work orders. Welcome, Madankumar. Welcome to the webinar.
Thank you so much for your introduction, Ramkrishnan. It's a pleasure to meet all our old colleagues and teachers, and I welcome all students. And I hear you will get most of the output from this meeting as fruitful. Thank you.
Thank you, Madan. Thank you for joining us. So the next panel member is myself. I'm Dr. Ramkrishnan. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Civil Engineering at Amrita School of Engineering. So me, after graduating from Amrita in 2012, I went for my master's in Geotechnical Engineering at SRM University, Chennai. So after that, I graduated in 2014. And after that, I directly joined Amrita as a faculty associate. And in 2016, I joined the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, for my PhD. So where I conducted research in geotechnical earthquake engineering, focusing on the seismicity of Himalayas. And in 2020, I have completed my doctorate as well. So I'm continuing my career at Amrita University. And now I am a senior grade assistant professor in the Department of Civil Engineering. All right. So I think we can start with the panel discussion. So, the topic for today's discussion is alternate career paths after civil engineering, isn't it? So, I would like to take this panel discussion forward. Now, I mean, we don't have to keep it much technical. We will give an insight into what are the career opportunities into civil engineering, after graduation from Amrita, because most of the students who are joining or pursuing civil engineering degree, they will be expecting to join some leading construction companies, and probably they will be expecting to go to the site and work as a site engineer trainee or so. And some people will also get recruited as recruited in the research and development wings in the leading companies. So apart from that, apart from a regular site job or a design job or a structural consultancy job, so apart from that, what are the alternate career paths that a civil engineering graduate can pursue after their graduation from Amrita? This will be the main topic of today's discussion, apart from how your experience was in Amrita and how you chose to pursue maybe ISRO. Madan, how you joined ISRO, or the story behind you when choosing to pursue his master's in management in France. So let's start with let's start with Madan. Maybe Madan can tell us how you decided to come into the civil engineering stream. As most of our attendees are today, we were also once a 12th standard student who was confused about what to select after your 12th standard. You might have been confused at times, maybe you and too, maybe you guys both were confused as to what you should choose after your 12th standard. Maybe you wanted to do engineering, but how did you come into civil engineering? How did you decide what to do after civil engineering? Maybe we can start with Madan.
Thank you, Ramkrishnan. I just also was one of the participants before 13 years, just thinking which civil engineering branch to choose. And to be open, I've ended up with a couple of options. Based on my cutoff in 12th standard, I get a degree of, electrical or mechanical. just like people used to go for that, right? Electrical and mechanical, those things which are very famous during our times of 13 years before.
Yeah, now it is now it has changed to
Now it has
CSE and
changed up to
DC.
them, I think. I'm not in trend now. What's it recently? So,
Yeah.
so I was also just thinking to go for a mechanical or something during my 13 years before. But the degree which I require, based on my score, I was able to get only in maybe .2 or .3 colleges only, based on my scores. And simultaneously, I was writing all the entrance exams. Successfully, I have completed our Amrita entrance examinations, and I've been offered chemical, civil, and a couple of other streams also. So I just had a couple of options, whether to go for a favorite degree in any X college or to go for any degree in a best college. So I chose the second option because at the end of the day, all we require is a good job, a settled career, which should have versatility of job opportunities, like you said. And like you said, luckily I was the first, and me and yourself, we were the first batch of civil engineering in Amrita. So even though we are, there is a fear of first batch to always take a option, right? We are the test rats, that kind of stuff. So, but I was amazed by the results and the previous experience, how people are working from back end for supporting for students to get into job careers. So I was really quite amazed with the resultant figures. So just like that, I just blindly went for Amrita College with whatever degrees they're offered. And as you said, I was basically strong in drawings. And my uncle is also basically a civil engineer. He motivated me so much so that he actually showed me the ways of versatility, how much job opportunities are there other than, as you said, no typical construction site engineer. I've done a lot of drawings also for nearby local people, just for construction buildings, just with the Btech degree. So there are really a lot of options to go with. There are government sectors to go with, which we'll discuss in the further cases. So based on those things, I was able to come into civil engineering of Amrita, and I'm happy
All
with my
right.
option.
Yeah. All right. What about you, Yuvan? How did you, from a 12th standard confused student, how did you choose civil engineering at Amrita?
I guess I can be the perfect example for all these guys here because I just graduated in 2019. So let me tell you my story, guys. So like everyone who are like all the students, like y'all, even I was in a situation wherein I was just supposed to go for perfect results in 12th because until then it was engineering for sure, but we don't know which field to choose. And the only focus until we finished 12th was marks, go for the marks and push harder. And once you get those marks, you don't know what field to choose. I was in a similar situation wherein I studied in Fiji and I tried for IITs, NITs, and all the stuff. Went keeping that aside, but for me, when it came to choosing a particular engineering field, I feel it was an inspiration from my father, who's already a civil engineer. So growing up in a family where he went to site and he worked in projects which are mesmerizing to me at that point in life. And only thing I could think of was civil engineering because I feel I had already a bit of knowledge in this field, and I thought I could definitely do well in civil engineering, and hence I chose civil engineering. And Amrita, to the point where I chose Amrita is because yeah, I did give my entrances to all IITs, NITs, and everything happened. But Amrita was something which I felt I did score. To be honest, I didn't do well in IITs, but among other Tier 1 colleges in Amrita, VAT, and SRM, I chose Amrita because the course structure was equivalent to BITS or even IATM, and it was very good. The course structure was pretty good, and that is one of the important reasons that I chose Amrita. And moreover, it felt at home at Amrita when I came to see the campus and stuff. So that is one of the important reasons that I chose Amrita and civil engineering to be in particular.
All right, great to hear that, Evan. So, telling about my backstory, I was as confused as most of the attendees here are now. So me, as Madan told, I was also interested in drawing and design and all. So I used to draw a bit. So, that might have helped me a bit to, score. I was the rank 60 in the All India architecture exams at that time in 2008. So I had a option to join any college that I wished to for a undergrad in architecture, but I thought I would pursue civil engineering because in architecture you deal with just the design alone. I mean the aesthetic design, most of it, but in civil engineering you also deal with the structural design, so you have an added advantage as in that. So I initially thought I would join for a civil engineering. I decided that I will join for a civil engineering degree. And as Evan mentioned, looking at the course structure, even though we were the first batch, looking at the course structure and all at that time, I felt I should join Amrita at that time. And then it was a very good ride from 2008 to 2012 for the 4 years of my life at Amrita. So which brings me to the next question. I mean, like, how was your initial experience after joining? For me, that would be the next question that I would like to discuss. How was your initial experience after joining Amrita? So I would like to answer that question first to myself and to all the attendees here. So me, I was I was kind of homesick in the beginning, but from I thought I would be homesick in the beginning, but coming from all the attention you get from your parents and all the attention that you get from your teachers, that for me, I studied in the same school for 14 years, from my LKG to my 12th standard. I studied in the same school, so all my teachers and all, everyone knew me so personally, and they took so much good care of me in the school. And you had your parents for everything when you were settled at your home, but coming to somewhere like Amrita, where most of the students are residential students, where I'm staying something about 400 kilometers away from my home. So I thought I'll be homesick like anything, but after joining, I felt as much as I am in my home, because the faculty here took so much good care of me at that time when I joined. Even my class advisors, many of them are still here in Amrita. So I had such a wonderful experience, and my transition from a taken care of, or a pampered child at home to that of a professional. That journey of 4 years, it has molded me into a professional in that 4 years. I mean, it has helped me a lot. I mean, the care that the faculty has taken here has molded me from a kind of shy and spoiled child to a professional in that course of 4 years. How was your experience, Evan? I would like to hear what Evan would like to say.
Yeah. So actually, for me, it was the same case. I could relate to a lot of yours, but only difference is that I was used to growing up in a hostel, because throughout my school life, I was in hostel. So for me, it was not a big deal moving from a school to a college. But the transition point was that we were kids until 12th, and going into a college is where you grow up, take responsibilities and stuff.
Yeah.
And to take up responsibilities and grow up in a proper environment, you should need a proper structure. I feel Amrita offered me that exact structure what I wanted. Right from the day when I joined the college and the day I graduated, I just felt I didn't regret choosing Amrita at any point in my career. So that is what is important at the end of the day. Your choices you shouldn't regret for the choices you make. So Amrita has provided me with so much opportunities that I cherished, and I did utilize a lot of them, and I'm totally happy for choosing Amrita, and it grew me well to survive. I'm here today in France. I would totally respect the decision I made at that point in life, and all those experience at Amrita is what has helped me grow to this extent in life. So I'm pretty happy for what I've taken and what I've got so far.
All right, Evan. So what about you, Madan? How was your life at Amrita, and how was your transition from a kid from the 12th standard to your 2012 when you graduated as a civil engineer, as a professional from Amrita? How was your journey?
Yeah, like you said, I was also just settled in my native for the 12 years or 14 years. So studying in the same place, in the same college, and I'm happy with and basically I'm from village. So immediately when I joined Amrita, the English vocabulary, the communication skills, and basically I was an introvert kind of person when I joined Amrita, because we see people from every point of the country, and some points of the world also we have seen, some NRI persons also we have seen. So really it was tough time for me the first 1 year. So the vocabularies of English, the communication, the syllabus was also a little tougher compared to other conventional colleges. So the first year I just take some tough time, but really the faculties and my friends or our colleagues really helped a lot. in improving my communication skills and making me ready to understand what the subjects are. So first year was a little tough because of my skills, but within 1 year I just get back to the same requirement required for understanding all the civil engineering basics and things. And really, I thank all my faculties and my friends who really supported me for the first year to get into just the right platform to understand all the things.
All right.
Yeah.
So that brings me to the next question. You had so many options after your 4 years of graduation at Amrita. After 2012, you had so many options, Madan. You even you were placed in Shobha Developers, and I had already predetermined that I would go for my higher studies, so I pursued a master's degree. So in between that, for a short period of time, I worked as a site engineer trainee at one of the leading developers in my hometown, which is Artec Realtors. So I worked as a site engineer trainee for a very limited period of time in between, when I graduated and I joined for my master's. So I had decided initially that I would pursue my higher studies. I wanted to do a master's in geotechnical engineering. I had decided that previously itself. So I had a interest in that particular subject, and I wanted to pursue further. So like that, I decided that I would like to go for a higher study, for higher studies in geotechnical engineering. But Madan, you had you had decided to pursue a career in civil engineering initially, right? You decided to join Shobha Developers. I believe you had got 2 or 3 job opportunities in hand once you graduated. I think you had got placed in 1 or 2 IT firms as well, and you also got placed in Shobha Developers. So how did you decide that you wanted to pursue your career in Shobha Developers as a civil engineer? Because we are talking about alternate career paths after civil engineering, but you started your career as a civil engineer in a private firm, in one of the leading private firms in India, Shobha Developers. So how did you decide to join Shobha Developers? How did you select that out of the numerous job opportunities that you had?
Yes, Ram. Well, you are aware that we got some 3 IT companies when we are at the final year. TCS, CTS, and Infosys.
TCS, CTS, and Infosys. They were the mass recruiters, and we also had several core companies as well. Yeah.
Exactly. And I was having an appointment with CTS and Infosys, and finally I got an appointment letter from CTS. So that was my backup plan from Amrita. So, but my ultimate aim was to join any construction company. Compared to salary also, I think CTS was offering some 3 lakhs per annum when we joined.
At that time,
at that time when we were searching for other jobs, and L&T also just came. And they recruited some 15 to 20 people.
Yeah, from our batch. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I was not selected in L&T, but still I was able to grasp one more core company, that is Shobha Developers Private Limited, and salary is also less compared to CTS and Infosys. But still, all our energies, our time, and everything we put into civil engineering and taking an IT, I think it's not a wise idea. So I just wanted to join in core company only, and I was searching for that. And at last, I have chosen as Shobha Developers. Starting career path.
Okay, that's where you started. Yeah, then exactly. you switched a few firms in construction itself. You switched a few firms, and finally you have settled with in the Indian Space Research Organization, which is one of the most well-reputed organizations in the country and in the world. But yeah, I'll come back to that. But before that, Yuvan.
Okay.
Yeah. So coming back to the same question to Yuvan. Yuvan, you have decided to do a master's in management, right? So you pursued a career in pursued your undergrad in civil engineering, and after that, how did you choose that you wanted to? How did you get there? How did you decide that you wanted to go for a master's in management rather than a side job or a higher studies or anything like that? How did you decide you wanted to go for a master's in management?
Okay, so to start off, for me, an unexpected twist happened during my 6th semester, I would say, wherein until then, even I was into core civil engineering, and I wanted to see myself as a civil engineer working for some top companies like L&T or Shobha, maybe something of that sort. But at that point, it was my family's decision where we were thinking to start an apparel manufacturing business in Tirupur, because we were from Tirupur, and a lot of apparel manufacturing happens there. And though my father was in the civil engineering, we had this idea, and as the elder son of the family, I was given an opportunity to explore that as well. So that is where my paths deviated. And I was initially I was forced, and I started liking management and business part of life, so of my career. So that it shifted, and then I wanted to pursue a career in business. I wanted to do an MBA in one of the top colleges in India, or maybe in the world. And that is when, after my fourth year, I was working with this apparel manufacturing firm of ours, and then COVID came in, and everything was in a pretty bad state. And I also started giving in CAT exams and GRE, GMAT on all of those competitive exams, and I was able to do well in that as well. And finally, I ended up doing a master's in management, because I always wanted to go higher, and that is how I ended up doing a master's in management in France.
Okay, so you have wide range of options. We three are three different examples of what you can pursue after your graduation in civil engineering. You went here have pursued right after his undergrad, he has pursued a master's in management. Myself, I have pursued higher studies in the civil engineering field itself, and Madan, he has gone for a core job in the field of civil engineering itself. So you have tons of options, and we have if you have attended our previous webinar, you might have seen that we also have so many students who have gone for higher studies in different fields. I mean, some of them have gone for masters in geotechnical, masters in transportation engineering, masters in structural engineering. They have chosen different fields, Mtech in structural engineering, in India and abroad. So in the last webinar, if you had attended, you might have seen we have alumni who are working in the US and the UK as transportation planners, as design geotechnical engineers, geotechnical consultants, structural designers, and even entrepreneurs. We have people who have started their own companies, their own civil engineering companies and consultancy firms. So you have a wide range of options that you can select, a wide range of career options that you can select after a graduation in civil engineering. Another, maybe Madan here, he has, worked at Shobha Developers for a few months, or probably a year, I guess. So you have worked at Shobha for a year. Then why did you switch your, company at that time? I mean, you were aspiring for something bigger, because I see that you have moved out of India at that time. You joined a company in Qatar, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Actually, as I said, Ram, I was using my semester holidays wisely. So I just want to be something different from our normal students. So I pursued some other CAD courses during our free time. So softwares. So I've been as a professional design. So it's a package of 4 softwares which I've studied during a semester holidays, which was really additive to my resume.
Yeah.
So, yeah. While working in construction company itself, I just got some couple of offers from other construction companies, but I don't want to choose the field because both are something similar. So I wanted to always, as you said, within first 5 years of your stage, it is the right time to switch between jobs. But after some 25 or 30 years of age, you should settle in some company, because from long-term perspective, you should be working towards.
Exactly. Yeah.
The first 4 years, I thought, okay, I can just jump any company, so I can shift. And of course, my salary is multiplied by more than 5 times. Because from India to foreign. And also, I want to explore the advanced systems in construction, which you are directly exposed when you work in abroad. So I just got an opportunity to fly, and I took the right opportunity. I don't want to miss that. So I just joined the Qatar, and it's a completely different company. As you said, it's completely formwork designs, drafting. I worked as project engineer. So it was really a different experience compared to my previous company.
And how long did you work in Qatar?
I worked a couple of years.
And then how did you decide to join ISRO? I mean, one of the most well-reputed organizations in the world. How did you decide to join ISRO?
Yeah, actually working for a couple of years, I was having some target, aim and goal in my life. So I just don't want to settle in abroad. I was very sure that I want to go back India. My family is there. Life is everything is about a balance, the reaction, the support, everything. So just like that, as you say, family is also part of God. So first couple of years, my target, I kept some amount to take it as my salary in my savings account, and I was waiting for that opportunity. And luckily, my marriage is also just planned. So I think it is the right time to flew back to India. I did not had any options to join any of the company. I just want to come home. I want to take some peace. So I was thinking what to do after my marriage. So I resigned. I just completed marriage, and I always like to explore every possibilities of civil engineering.
Okay, you had a vision of joining some government organization.
Because already I worked in a private organization in India. I worked in a private organization in abroad. Now I just wanted to feel how government jobs likes. So I just wanted to taste that also. So why don't we try for some government exams?
So what were the options that you were looking at? I think that's a good point to bring in here. What were the options that you had at that time?
Yeah, I was having a abroad experience of 4 years. So I really had a lot of gates open for me for private organizations. Many private organizations, not only, and also I have done some couple of projects, means in local to my friends and relatives. No, I just, as I told you earlier, I was, since my professional degree in CAD course during my semester holidays in Amrita, helped me a lot. So design wise, structural wise, I did some 5 layouts for my friends and families. And I did it for freelancer only. But still, it really helped me confidence so that if I didn't get any job also, I can just run my career
On
path
company,
with confidence. So,
exactly.
Exactly. So even though a lot of private gates are open for me, I went into preparing for my exams for governments. Okay. So I was actually, as you said, no, we want to put the ladder to the topmost company. Only then we'll get something, whatever is there. So I just wanted to put my destination at the top. So top notch, I was preparing for GATE exams and UPSCs, and so ISRO also was one of the exams which I just passed. And I would tell you that whatever exams comes, no, first whatever exams, it is based on civil engineering. Any opens exams, I'll just go and write the exam and I'll come. So that's the only time. I was preparing for first 3 months. Don't do anything. Just 3 months. Make yourself ready. Prepare yourself for prepare my weapon. Mind my studies. You know how hard it is to take back your civil engineering and come back with full power. It is really tough.
Really
but
tough,
Amrita, no, the basics was so strong in me that I could feel. And really, the understanding of my civil engineering after 4 years, no, that was really multiplied many times after having experience in different fields of field. So I was so strong in the basics that I felt only after writing government exams. I was able to compete with the recently completed fresh engineers, which are having a lot of basics with them and statistics. And I was able to compete with the Btech students also. So I was just writing for all the exams based on civil engineering, and luckily I got into many streams. As you said, as our KV Anand said in his explanation, no, there are a lot of ways to go into career paths in civil engineering. Like I cleared railways, I cleared SSC, JEs, I cleared one of AEs also from state government, and I got into syndicate bank also. Syndicate banks, technical officer. The bank is not bank officer. I again repeat, it is a technical officer. So we work as civil engineer and in bank, where we design the bank's premises. So there are really a lot of opportunities in government sectors itself. So I was really happy to choose between jobs. So I chose technical officer from a bank because it is a completely different perspective. You know, building a premises from RBI guidelines, taking a license. So
no, it's not the usual design that you follow, right?
The usual thing which you do for. So I was working on that. And while working there, I was able to clear ISRO exams also, as you said. And luckily, I got interview and I was able to catch through ISRO also. I was lucky enough. So really, Amrita's basics, you know, I was able to compete with all other conventional examiners, you know, people from different, so I was really happy. And main thing I would like to tell is, you know, when I studied in Amrita, we always study the syllabus, but at the same time we study the people also. You know,
exactly.
Amrita means it is combination of all people from different parts of India. You know, Andhra people will be having a different kind of, different kind
viewpoint and different culture and different viewpoint. People from different parts, correct?
Their way of studying, their way of interpretation. Somebody will be having hard work, doing excellent hard work. Some kind of. So I was really able to grasp. I was able to read people how they put into action when the war comes. So it really helped me in clearing ISRO's exams also, because I know how people study, how much input they're putting. So it really helped me a lot in clearing. robotics.
Okay. Thank you, Madan. And what about you, Yuvan? What do you think? How did Amrita helped you in pursuing what you're doing now, and what are the other options that you have? Maybe you could have gone for an MBA, but you went for a double degree in Masters in Management, right? So, what was your other opportunities or other options, and how did Amrita help you reach where you are right now?
Actually, to add to Madan's points are very valid, and I could relate a lot to it because as soon as I entered, we speak a lot about Amrita's structure. It is good, and people know it's good. But I let me give you a gist how it is good because right from the first year, you're introduced into various engineering basics, which is needed for the next 3 years. And you are also introduced to courses like Excel and programming, which are very required for current scenarios, job scenarios. And everywhere you go, they ask for Excel or a programming language, which is needed, be it IT sector or even in civil engineering. If you have a desk job, you need Excel and you need AutoCAD software. Apart from civil software, which you will be forced, I mean, you will be given an opportunity to learn. But it started off with the basics in first year and then deep diving into various sectors, all those fields, right from geotechnical, water, and all those you saw in the initial point of this webinar. You are introduced to all those stuff. It is basically you build a strong base for yourself, wherein you, whatever the opportunity may rise in your career path, you'll be bold enough to face it because you're equipped with right skills and right mindset to go about it. So that is how it changed for me. Yeah, I had options in doing masters in civil engineering, be it structural, because I was looking for universities in Netherlands, take it to TU Delft to do a masters there. But then I wanted,
which by the way is one of the leading universities in geotechnical engineering. Yeah, very reputed university. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, you have the opportunity to apply to all those colleges because you had the base in Amrita. Because the doors are open to you. Only thing is you have to leverage all those doors, whichever you feel like doing it. That is what I did. For me, it was business. At that point, I decided I decided business over civil engineering because I thought that could be right for me at that point in life.
Yeah.
And it is up to everyone to decide. You have your options. So, and yeah, coming to the point wherein I chose MBA, I chose MAM over MBA is because I always aim for something best in India or be it in the world. Because I was an IIT aspirant and I failed miserably there. And now I wanted to get into one of the top IIMs in India, be it MBA or anything. So I did go about and do well in CAT. I got 10 calls from IIMs, but the thing is, I wanted the top 3, which I couldn't. We have to get a 99%, which was a bit difficult at that point.
IIM, A, B, and C, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So then I looked for something better than ABC. That is when I came across EDHEC. I gave my GRE, GMAT, and finally I ended up doing a master's in management. It is equivalent to an MBA in India, but only thing is the course structure is same, but the names are different as it varies across the world. So I was pretty happy I chose EDHEC over anything.
All right. So coming to me, I mean, for the same question, coming back to me, who is a academician. I after completing my graduation in civil engineering, I had predetermined that I would go for my higher studies, even though for a short period of time during the break I worked as a site engineer. I had decided that I would go for a higher studies for my higher studies. So that I pursued my master's in geotechnical engineering. So at the end of that, even I had a few job opportunities or job options after my graduation in civil engineering. But I was, as I mentioned, I had been predetermined that I would go for my higher studies. So I pursued that. So 2012 to 2014, I pursued my master's in geotechnical engineering at SRM University. So after graduation from SRM University, after a graduation in geotechnical engineering, I had so many options even after that. After a master's in civil engineering too, I had so many options. I could even start my own consultancy firm because there are very less number of geotechnical consultancy firms especially in South India. So I had that option to start a geotechnical consultancy of my own, or I had other options, like I had a few opportunities from several engineering colleges to join as a faculty associate or an assistant professor, or I could even pursue my PhD right away. So I, out of the job offers that I had, the one that actually lit up my face was the job offer from Amrita University, which was, of course, my alma mater. So, without a second thought, I joined back here, and I thought that I will, work for a few years and explore further, and maybe explore the possibilities of a PhD. So, one second. Yeah. So, after joining for this job, I thought I will further pursue my doctorate. The learning process never stops. That is one thing that I learned in Amrita during my undergrad. This learning is for life, isn't it? So we have to continuously learn, and we have to continuously better ourselves, whichever field we are in. So, that pushed me further to pursue my doctorate. So finally, I got admission in the highest ranked university, public university in India, which is the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. So, again, from there on, it was a life of research and academics together, because I was pursuing my, research at IIC, and at the same time I was teaching at Amrita. So, it was a life which was, which was a combination of, academics and research altogether. So, after a degree in civil engineering, you have so many number of options. Maybe you can go for an MBA, you can pursue a research career, you can pursue a career in academics and research like I do. You can even start your own consultancy firm. Maybe you can join some government organization like Madan did. I mean, you have so many verticals, you have so many career options after our graduation in civil engineering. I mean, we three are just three, totally distinct examples for that, even after having a common base, which is a civil engineering from Amrita. So, I mean, we have tons of opportunities, tons of options that we can bifurcate from after our graduation in civil engineering, isn't it? So, and I would like to, come to our last question. How is your how is the current job scenario in your area? Maybe Madan can tell me something about how is the scenario post-pandemic? How is the situation now?
As you said, Ram, more vacancies are being kept under hold due to budget constraints for the last 1.5 years, for 18 months or so. But just a couple of days before also, you can just check out in www.isro.gov.in/careers, wherein we just call for some of our scientists or technical assistants and technicians. So some vacancies have been called for, because we cannot hold for such vacancies for a long period of time. Yeah. Now I think due to vaccinations and a lot of government supports, we are able to just go ahead with all our projects and missions. So I think it is getting back to normal. So we are getting a lot of vacancies, and posts are getting filled for vacancies that have been held for last 1.5 years. So I think it's getting back to normal, the normal numbers or things.
Okay, all right. And what about you, Yuvan? How about the scenario in France post-pandemic? I mean, you can't say post-pandemic yet because we are still in the middle of that. But I think, Godspeed, we are, recovering soon. So, what is the situation in France, and how is the situation for a management graduate?
Actually, to be honest, like everywhere, students around the world are facing, even I faced hardships in finding an internship, and it was difficult, but I feel it's turning out to be normal. Things are going back to normal. People are integrating to the new ways of working, and people are moving towards a digital thing, I guess. So there are ample of opportunities that opened recently, and people are getting jobs, and everything's pretty normal for now until hopefully another wave doesn't strike. So it's pretty decent, I would say. Not very good, decent.
Okay. And in the research field, I would say, the career opportunities are always open. You have tons of options in the CSIR, CRRI, lot of opportunities are there in many of the leading research organizations in India under the government. There are a lot of research organizations like the CBRI, CRRI, CSIR. So many options for scientist positions are open in all of these organizations, so that you can pursue after a doctorate in civil engineering, and some positions are even open after a master's in civil engineering. So that's also a vertical that you can explore further. Maybe after your graduation, maybe you can, if you are thinking about a research career, then you can always think about these options as well, which are all again, which if you have a passion for research, that it's what you are going to do for your life. in CBRI or CSIR or research organizations in India like that. So I think we can stop it here. We are already 5 minutes past our time. So anything anything further that you guys would like to add to this? Anyway, I would like to thank you so much for taking so much time out of your regular busy routine and sharing some time with the 12th standard students who are probably confused about what to choose after their 12th standard. So thanks a lot, Madan and Evan, for joining us today. So anything further that you would like to add to our discussion today?
Ram, I just missed one of the things. I was preparing for exams, right? So during that time also, I was working as a part-time professor in one of the diploma colleges.
Okay.
So that is also one way of stream, so that your income will not stop. Just
academics also. Yeah.
I wanted to tell you.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything you further would like to add, Evan?
Yes, sir. Actually, it's thank you so much for having us over. It's an absolute pleasure being here, speaking to students, and speaking about Amrita is one of the things I really like doing because it has helped me a lot in my career. And one thing that I would like to add here is that Amrita gives you a lot of opportunities. A lot of doors are open. Only thing is you students have to leverage it rightly, and you can definitely have a bright career if you do that. And thank you so much for having us over. And I forgot to mention, thank you so much, Vidyapeetham, if you are still listening. And it's nice having you for this webinar as well.
Yeah, thank you, Evan. Thank you so much, Madan. So thank you both for joining us today. So anything further would you like to add, Anand sir?
Thank you, Evan and Madan. And I think few queries had come from the participants. I think it is being attended to by the admission office, etc. If there are any further queries, maybe the candidates can contact the admission office so that it will be responded as quickly as possible. Yeah.
So thank you, sir. Thank you, so much for joining us today and giving us that wonderful session on civil engineering. I would also like to thank the admissions team, Nija and Chitra, who have organized it so well, and also would like to extend my thanks to Mr. Rakesh. So thank you once again. Thank you all the attendees for joining us and sparing your valuable 1 hour with us. So thank you all the panelists. Thank you once again. I would like to conclude the session now. Thank you.